Devin Haney says Gervonta Davis will be neutralized by Ryan Garcia. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. So, the current undisputed lightweight champion of the world, Devin Haney, has been voicing his opinion on the outcome of the Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Davis fight. And Devin has some pretty interesting things to say. You know, I read an article that he was interviewed in. He basically had a few, I think, key pointers to put out there for the fans before this fight actually happens. Now, one of those key points was that he feels like Gervonta Davis will be neutralized by Ryan Garcia. What does he mean by neutralized? You know, that's a crazy word to use. But he spoke about the Rolly Romero fight and Mario Barrios fight. Now, in my opinion, I feel like Gervonta Davis dominated both of those fights and the Leo Santa Cruz fight for just to throw that in there as well. But it seems like a lot of fans feel like he had trouble with Rolly for some reason. I don't know, man. Rolly's a weird fighter. Rolly has some type of skill. I don't know if it's championship skill, but he has boxing skill. The problem with Rolly is that his stance is way too wide, and he poses when he throws hard shots. So guys like Rolly, I don't ever expect to beat. You know, guys like Gervonta, I wouldn't even expect him to give Ryan Garcia any trouble. But people feel like the size or the length of Rolly had Gervonta in trouble or was making him look bad or something that Devin Haney spoke about during that interview. He basically said that Rolly was landing a lot of good long shots on Gervonta, and Gervonta was allowing himself to be hit too much. Listen, I do think Rolly was landing some shots that he probably shouldn't have been landing. I don't ever remember a point in that fight where I said, oh man, I think Gervonta's in trouble right here. You know, there were points in the fight where I'm like, yeah, he probably shouldn't be getting hit with that. But like I said in the past, Gervonta Davis is one of those guys who gauges power. And he does that so he can make you comfortable. Like if I allow you to hit me, and I'm coming in and you realize, well, he's just coming in, I can hit him. You're going to keep trying to hit me. And at some point, you're going to make a mistake. And as long as I can take your power, I can capitalize when you make that mistake. Now, some people might say it's a good strategy. Some people might say it's a bad strategy. Some people might say that's not what he's doing. But if you watch those fights, he did that in all three of those fights. The Santa Cruz fight, the Barrios fight, and the Rolly Romero fight. Now, he went about it in slightly different ways, but that's how all three of those fights ended. He allowed his opponent to hit him, come in, think they're going to get close enough to land a knockout shot, and he actually was the one who had landed the knockout shot because they got too close to his power hand. So I'm not the type to say that I feel like Gervonta Davis was ever in trouble against any of those three fighters. Now, once again, there were points where he was getting hit a little too much. You know, in the Barrios fight, I think the length of Barrios played a role, but there was still the same outcome. At the end of the day, Gervonta Davis still beat him. Gervonta Davis was still able to pull off the victory because he has that, you know, weird game plan that, you know I have this really good power, and if I can get you to come in, then I can land those big shots. But it's the process of goading your opponent in that I think people get confused with Gervonta just getting hit too much or somebody being able to land shots on him that you might think they shouldn't be able to land. Now, do I think Ryan Garcia has a better punch than Mario Barrios or Leo Santa Cruz or Rolly Romero? I can say he probably has better power than Rolly, and if Rolly was able to rock Gervonta a couple of times, you would think that, well, if Ryan hits him, a bigger guy, a longer guy, then it's going to have more of an effect than if Rolly Romero hit him. Plus, Rolly's kind of garbage. I don't think Rolly has that much on his punches, but shouts out to Rolly. But out of those three fighters, I think actually Mario Barrios was probably the toughest opponent, and the most, talented out of all three of those guys, Santa Cruz, Rolly, and Barrios. And then if you say, okay, how does he compare to Ryan Garcia? I actually think he's slightly better than Ryan Garcia at this point. Even though Ryan's still undefeated, I would favor Mario Barrios if those two guys fought today. Just because Mario's been able to move up in weight, he's had a little bit of success. So he has plenty of upside. Not to say Ryan can't. If Ryan beats Gervonta Davis, he might well, decide to move up in weight and go the same route that Mario Barrios went. But I think if you compared all three of those fighters, you would have to say that Mario Barrios is the most talented out of that bunch. Ryan Garcia will probably be second, and then Leo Santa Cruz, and then you got Rolly bringing up the rear. But I don't think Gervonta Davis, I don't think he's going to fall into any traps. I think people think that perhaps his boxing skills aren't as good. And I hate when people say that as Ryan Garcia, just because Ryan Garcia may do something a little more fundamental than Gervonta Davis does. I don't consider him a better boxer, because once again, if you go back to Gervonta Davis's amateur pedigree, you can't argue that he's not a boxer. And on top of that, you gotta ask yourself, okay, why did Devin Haney say that Ryan Garcia was going to neutralize Gervonta Davis? Well, it's basically the length. He says he feels like the length of Ryan Garcia is going to give Gervonta Davis problems, because Barrios gave Davis problems, Rolly gave Davis problems, and Leo gave Davis problems with their length. And when you throw speed on top of that, it's a more dangerous combination, because Rolly's not a speed fighter. Mario's got some speed, but he's not that speedy. Leo's probably the most speedy out of those three guys. But Ryan's on a completely different level. But Ryan has to be in front of Gervonta Davis to hit him. Everybody talks about Ryan Garcia's hand speed, not his foot speed. I've never really heard anybody speak about his foot speed. And when you watch even those flex bag videos that he does on Instagram, he's not moving in front of the bag. He's not moving around the bag. He's just plainly standing still, throwing combinations. Now, that can work if Gervonta Davis just stands there, but who actually believes Gervonta Davis is just going to stand there and get hit? Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. If you want to collab, hit my Gmail, flockofcards@gmail.com. And we are
in the North Pole, shorty move your torso, let your back porch roll. Louis keys is more so, when they getting more dough, put it on my wardrobe. Take a little more dro, higher than the fourth floor. Got some fans, but I'm trying to let some more know. I'm the real deal, y'all faking like the Giorno. Pretty soon, see your boy at award shows. I keep a chick with a stash like hormones. Okay, I gotta get, okay, I gotta get. Okay, I gotta get, okay, I gotta get, 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 I gotta get. Now break it down, okay, 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 now break it down, 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 now break it down. International player, but I don't play no games though. It would be smarter you just to hand over my peso. Beefing with a rapper, I just show up at your stage show. Hide in the crowd, then hit you from the 8th row. Think not, I think so. We make dough. Y'all try but can't though. They lame, so I'ma show them how to do this. Louisville music in the rental cruising. It's Louis. I gotta get it, okay.